Hey folks, we're recording at Chainlink's SmartCon event, and joining me is Vivek Raman, who is the co-founder and CEO of Etherealize. Vivek, great to have you.
Thanks so much for having me. Good to see you.
Yeah, Vivek, tell us a bit about yourself and what is Etherealize?
So I'm not a crypto person. I'm actually a Wall Street person,
Okay.
which is finally in vogue now. I spent 11 years on Wall Street at the traditional finance banks, Morgan Stanley, UBS, Deutsche Bank, Nomura, from 2009 to 2020. And I traded a bunch of credit products, which were the backbone of the U.S. economy, but their technology, their operations, their settlement was the most Stone Age type technology I've ever seen. And so I did it for 11 years, built up an amazing network, love everyone on Wall Street, but nothing ever changed in tech land. So I left Wall Street, which people don't do that often, and found Ethereum. And I was like, this Ethereum thing it's the platform where Wall Street should tokenize and trade their assets. So I've been working on that for 5 years, independently for a long time, knocking on a lot of doors, getting a lot of rejections. Last year, when the regulatory wind shifted, when the ETH ETFs were approved, when Larry Fink started saying the whole world's going to be tokenized, I was like, now it's time to actually mobilize and institutionalize. So I set up Etherealize, backed by the Ethereum Foundation and Vitalik, with support from the Ethereum ecosystem overall, to build the institutional arm for the Ethereum ecosystem. And that's what Etherealize is today. That's
incredible. And to your point, Ethereum has become this layer that all of Wall Street and all the TradFi firms want to build on. I mean, BlackRock launched BUIDL on there first,
Exactly.
Right? What is it like looking back? Again, you're a Wall Street guy and seeing all these institutions and firms coming in.
It's almost like a sigh of relief, because I felt like I was wrong for so long. I was like, I swear that I see blockchain as a solution to Wall Street's just technology and operational issues, and everything wants to upgrade for the technology era, but the financial sector hadn't. So I was like, am I crazy? And after some time, when you saw the regulatory hostility, I was like, will I ever be able to build in the US with a financial platform? And so seeing that it's finally not only vindicated, but like now all TradFi firms they have a blockchain mandate. They actually have to integrate blockchains. It's good to see that we will be able to realize the potential of blockchains becoming the hub for all financial activity, as well as much more than that. But to start getting the financial sector on board is a really, really good upgrade to the whole system, and a really cool use case to show.
It feels like the markets, the economies, and possibly parts of the government will all run on blockchain rails eventually. It seems that's the direction the puck is heading in.
I think that the ironic part is, when blockchains are that backbone that you said for governments and for the financial sector and for social media and for everything, no one's going to know they're using a blockchain. So Ethereum's going to be invisible, but it'll be everywhere. Kind of like the internet. Like, no one thinks about the internet, but it's everywhere. But now we have the internet for money, and it's safe and it's secure and it's reliable and it's global and it's not owned by anyone. And that's why like Ethereum's such a standout platform to win this blockchain race. Bitcoin's won digital gold. Ethereum, I think, is going to win the platform for everything. And I want to make sure that happens, because that is the ultimate potential of blockchains. So yeah, we're here to advance Ethereum responsibly and get to show real use cases.
So walk us through what's the mission of Etherealize, and how can folks leverage the platform and so forth?
So Etherealize started off educating institutions about all the things they can do with blockchains. And that includes tokenization, that includes building their own custom blockchains, which are layer 2s on Ethereum. And that includes using applications, building applications, decentralized finance. I like to call it decentralized finance programmatic finance. Program your assets, actually unlock automation. We started educating about all of that across the board, to the buy side of Wall Street, to the sell side of Wall Street, to asset managers, to investment advisors, and taught about everything. Very quickly, we realized that everyone wants to deploy something in Ethereum, but no one has the expertise to do it. So we built up an engineering arm. So we started building the solutions. So we're building ways. We're building ways to tokenize assets. We're building ways to build different layer 2s. We're building infrastructure like privacy, so tokenized assets can actually be compliant, trade privately. So we're building a lot of tools, and the idea is to onboard as many assets, as many institutions, and as many new players into the Ethereum ecosystem.
So we've seen Ethereum's ecosystem blossom and grow significantly, and you have a lot of layer 2s. So are you also working with the layer 2s?
Absolutely. I think the layer 2s are such an important part of Ethereum's ecosystem. I think any blockchain system that thinks that the whole financial sector will live on one layer it's a little naive in my view. I think every firm wants their own customized blockchain. They want their own block space. They want some privacy, some public. They want some compliance. integrations into some parts of the chain. That is only possible with a modular architecture, and that's where the layer 2s come in. The layer 2s can be faster, they can be cheaper, they can have different security assumptions, they can have different Wall Street players on them, they can onboard the world that way. So I think layer 2s, I see a world where we're going to have a blossoming amount of layer 2s all plugging into this liquidity hub that's Ethereum layer 1.
So do you see a future, and I'll give the example of Sony, because they built Sonium, I believe, a layer 2.
Sonium,
That many brands and companies, this is kind of the model. Build our own blockchain using the security layer of the Ethereum layer 1 and getting the smart contract benefits and all that jazz.
It's almost like saying companies build on the internet, but they build their own companies. Like they're not building new internets every time, but they build their companies on top of the internet. So companies want to maximize profits, and companies want to have their own ecosystem and have their own customer retention. I always say, like, Ethereum isn't it's not a charity. It's the best place to do business. If a company wants to deploy a blockchain strategy, you do it on Ethereum, you build your own layer 2, you have your own customer retention, you have your new revenue sources, you have your new innovation. Coinbase did it with Base, Robinhood's doing it with their chain, and Sonium, like people outside of finance. There's a lot of potential outside of finance too. Sonium, World Chain is doing this with their own ecosystem. There's so many, and we're at the very start of the adoption curve, so there's gonna be a lot more.
It's amazing, and I can't wait for the Clarity Act to pass, where there's going to be more clarity,
for better or worse,
where these companies can now don't have to look over their shoulder. There's no ambiguity. They can just hit the ground, put their head down, and start working. Are you expecting like even more innovation and incredible stuff coming out after that?
Oh, I think the Genius Act, the stablecoin bill, was the prelude. But look at what happened. The stablecoin bill is now in law, and every single bank, every single fintech, everyone's launching their own stablecoin. So see what happens with a little bit of regulatory clarity. When the Clarity Act ultimately passes, it's going to unleash, I think, 10x the innovation, because that applies to DeFi, it applies to other tokenized assets, it applies to frameworks for all different kinds of blockchain architectures. That's going to unlock some real upside. So, I mean, I got the opportunity earlier this year to testify in front of Congress about the Clarity Act. So we're familiar with it. We're very supportive, and it's a matter of when, not if. But when blockchains get codified in the law, then we'll see the real potential. The bull market hasn't even started yet. This mini little like up and down in ETH is nothing. I think the real thing is going to happen when we have regulatory clarity. Every company is deploying, and then you have Ethereum. The network's going to be pervasive, and the asset's going to be worth trillions, and that's what I'm excited for.
It's amazing. I can't wait to see what innovation comes out after this bill passes.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about Etherealize and how you're working with different institutions. I don't know if you can name drop, but like give us a mock scenario of maybe someone who came to you and was like, hey, we want to do this, and how you're helping them.
Unfortunately, can't name drop, but that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Right.
But we like to say that we're the ambassadors to Ethereum, because there's a lot of things that you can do. So some institutions want to tokenize assets. Perfect. We'll either help do it for them. We'll point them at partners. Some institutions want to create their own layer 2s. Again, we'll do it for them. We'll point them to partners. Some want to deploy on layer 2s. Some want to just learn about the space. Some want to learn about what DeFi is. Some want to design privacy architecture. We want to be the one-stop shop for institutional adoption for Ethereum. So it's not, Ethereum isn't one size fits all. That's a good thing. That's why we have the layer 2 roadmap. We're here to be a funnel and sort of guide people and navigate people through the potential of what this platform can do.
Have you had anybody approach you, and it may be too early for this because we need the Clarity Act. I want to launch my own token, rewards token, to build my brand and customer retention and stuff like that?
Absolutely. And we do need the Clarity Act to make it like very low risk. All this should be codified in law. This is such a positive something. When I was testifying, I told, both sides of Congress, whether Republicans, Democrats, and I was like, this is the most nonpartisan technology ever. Democrats should love this because it democratizes literally access to finance. Republicans should love this because it increases profit margins and creates business opportunity. I don't see a more positive sum technology out there. Maybe AI, but even AI, I think blockchains are more positive sum than AI is. So people are waiting on clarity, but yes, absolutely. Rewards tokens, everything outside of finance is also fair game, and that's where it's gonna be exciting to see the innovation that happens on Ethereum.
Oh, for sure. So what's on your roadmap? What can we expect in 2026 and things like that?
Lots more tokenized assets, lots more institutional layer 2s, and new novel applications and real progress on zero knowledge proof technology and architecture and privacy.
let's double click on the zero knowledge proof aspect, because privacy is very important to a lot of these institutions. How are you finding that balance with connecting to a or building on a public blockchain, connecting to other public blockchains, and having privacy?
I think it's table stakes. I think that the space hasn't worked yet, and that's why we've seen so many iterations over the last 10 years of like privately held blockchains, company blockchains, consortium chains. The reason it hasn't opened up, and that's the reason we haven't seen blockchain blossom, is it hasn't happened on public networks. So you do need public networks, but on those public networks, you need the ability to have selective privacy and programmable privacy, and we're getting there. Luckily, not luckily, it's by design. Ethereum's architecture has invested in zero-knowledge proof technology very heavily for the last 5+ years across the layer 1 and a lot of the layer 2s. So we have the tools in place to create the privacy that's needed. And so we're going to help build it. We're going to help push the ball forward and create the privacy tools that will allow for actual mass adoption. And we're close. So.
Oh, for sure. A dumb question, and this is a very noob question.
No such thing.
There are a lot of institutions building on Ethereum. Is there a cap as to how many layer 2s can be on Ethereum? Does that slow the network down at some point? Let's say 1 million layer 2s, right? And this may be too early to answer this question, but what are your thoughts around that?
No, I think that the layer 2 design's pretty brilliant because layer 2s themselves can customize their fees. They can customize how many times they post data to layer 1 for security, for example. Everything can be toggled and customizable. That being said, Ethereum is continually increasing its capacity to have more and more layer 2s in anticipation of a world where we have millions of layer 2s. So right now, if there are 1 million layer 2s, fees would probably be a lot higher on layer 1. But there's an upgrade happening in a month, and there's more upgrades happening after, where the capacity to have layer 2s while also maintaining security and decentralization on Ethereum is maintained perfectly, and that's what we're excited for. So I do see a world of thousands or more of layer 2s, and Ethereum will be able to handle that.
It's exciting, man. Vivek, we're going to have to do an in-person and go more deeper into this, but thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
This episode is brought to you by iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital gives you a great alternative for buying, selling, and custodying your crypto assets. They allow you to set up a self-directed IRA, which gives you huge tax advantages. You can even roll over your 401k to this platform. And they not only offer crypto, they also offer gold and silver. And as mentioned, the custody gives you another very safe alternative. So many of you know about self-custody. That's a great option, but you can also use iTrust Capital's premium custody accounts, also known as PCA. So with the rise of crypto scams and phishing attacks, a lot of retail investors are losing their shirts. I mean, let's be honest, right? It sucks to hear that exchanges are getting hacked. Well, iTrust Capital does things a bit different here. They use Fortis Bank as their qualified custodian. So they're actually using a bank here, and they have partnerships with Coinbase, Prime, Fidelity, and Fireblocks. They are fully US based, and their client experience team offers direct phone support. So not many platforms offer this. This is very unique to iTrust Capital. And folks, most recently, we heard from President Trump that the United States is looking to unlock 401ks to be able to participate in crypto. Well, you can get ahead of the curve by using iTrust Capital and getting started in that process. And folks, I'm a user of the platform. I have an account with them. If you sign up with my link, which is itrustcapital.com/thinkingcrypto, you can get an exclusive $100 funding bonus. So go learn about this great, safe, and awesome way to buy, sell, and custody your crypto. A great alternative, once again, with tax advantages and a lot of safety, very safe compared to many exchanges. And all the links will be in the description. Check it out.